Waifu, Weaboo, Git Gud?
Six hours later.
Git Gud. We are so back. Nioh 3 is here, and after a little time, I can say so far it hasn't disappointed, though it came close in some areas. Now, for people unfamiliar with the series, those 3 magic words I said in the intro are, to me, the heart of Nioh. And I don't believe this is a crazy hot take. It's actually inspired from Fumihiko Yasuda's GDC presentation on Nioh.
New things that we learned or discovered, such as, I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but is it Waifu or Weaboo or Git Gud?
So coming into this new entry, that was the bar. How well are they doing in these specific areas, at least in comparison to its predecessor Nioh 2? Let's start with the most important word.
Is it Waifu?
What?
My video, my priority order. Now, all cards on the table. I honestly expected them to screw this up. I've been jaded by so many franchises just taking all those weird and quirky edges and sanding them off with a goddamn belt sander in order to appeal to a wider audience without realizing the quirks are what brought in a lot of people in the first place. Yes, sauerkraut on pizza is a weird flex, but in this economy, who else is selling it?
A lot of people.
No, they're renting it out. You do not own it, and when you least expect it, they will take it away.
It'll happen to you.
Anyway, this analogy is getting off topic. So far, I have no complaints. The character creator is a solid upgrade from the previous entry, with no mysteriously capped sliders. We've got some waifu characters that I assume might be reoccurring characters, the blacksmith from Nioh 2 is back, and most importantly, waifu soul cores are back on the menu. Nure Ona-chan is back with a vengeance. Nure Ona-chan, no! For newcomers, soul cores are essentially taking the various monsters that populate Nioh 2 and now 3's world, and allowing the player to summon them to use a unique ability for that player's benefit. Think Pokemon, but a subsection of the monsters are hot babes. The bigger surprise to me was not only did the boob snake make a return, but it seems like Team Ninja is going out of their way to fill Nioh 3 with the franchise's best hits, including even the Hino Inma boss who made her debut all the way back in Nioh 1. Really cool for those like me who only really got started with the franchise in Nioh 2. Now, we get to see more of the content from the title that started it all. And speaking of best hits, I haven't personally gotten this far yet, but I was already spoiled on this, so look away for a sec if you don't want to know. So clearly the waifu game is strong with this one. So next up,
Weaboo.
I should start this one off by saying that, at least for me, just being in Japan does not mean this game is certified weeaboo, because it's less about being Japanese and more about embracing the fantastical idea of Japan cultivated by how it and its culture is portrayed in media. Fantastical creatures, heavy themes of honor, references and tropes enshrined in anime, that's the shit I crave, and Nioh 2 delivered. But so far, there is one aspect that this new entry loses out on in comparison to its predecessor: soul cores. I lightly explained how they work in general, but in Nioh 2, summoning monsters was actually a somewhat rare animation. Most of the time, the player would transform either their entire body or sometimes just a limb in order to harness the powers of their chosen yokai. Now, I like the new system of it being truly summoning creatures, partially because it's a great callback to one of Nioh 2's coolest DLC characters, and also because I like Bayonetta. But one of the coolest things about Nioh 2 was the fantasy of playing as the anime trope of someone who could use these supernatural abilities, some of which even had references to some popular anime, or at least looked like it to my weeb-addled brain. Being able to use Mezuki to transform your arm and summon a jagged blade like Imiyashiro, or call upon the power of Otakemaru to rain swords down on your enemies like Gilgamesh, or even use the lowly aberrant soldier in order to launch a devastating rocket punch.
Wow, really? That is so cool!
It sucks, but Nioh 3 lost that aspect with the rework to Soul Cores. Now, counterpoint. We got full-on Henshin a Go-Go, baby, which is a return to Nioh 1's living weapon with a little bit of demonic transformation from 2 mixed in, resulting in I love it so much, and this game just so happens to have dropped while I'm watching Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider. 10 out of 10 series, by the way. You don't need to understand Kamen Rider to understand the passion of grown adults who never gave up their childhood obsessions and getting rewarded for it. Also, fan service.
I am Taco.
You can be a samurai with 3 stances summoning demons, a ninja with air combat and various magical techniques, more on that in the next section, and with a unique stance which I will call the rider stance, all at the same time. You can face off against hot anime demons and soldiers so devoted to their masters that they become illusion casting demons, and if you have time, you can take a break in various hot springs enjoying the scenery and the scenery.
Eh? 何を? 弱み? いいですけど。急いでくださいね。
I'll miss the references, but overall, still certified Weaboo. Finally,
Git Gud.
many would say this is the most important of the 3. Many are wrong. But it is very important, and at least for the first world's area, it's a bit on the easy side. From the top, let's talk open field, which is what the devs are calling it.
What the hell is this?
I'm kinda meh on it, to be honest. It's not Metroid Prime 3 levels of bad, far from it. I'm just more of a levels-based guy, and as a little bit of an olive branch to my kind, many segments can be replayed as traditional Nioh 2 levels from one of the menus once you've completed it in the open area. With that said, the level design so far does feel a bit more sloppy. Some enemies do feel placed without too much thought. There are angles that feel a bit abusive to the AI, and I've even found areas where I can clip through the ground. Which is fine. I don't expect everything to be flawless in a detailed open environment made by devs that actually have budgetary limits. But where I do take some offense is in some of the dungeon layouts. Like these larger buildings, they just don't interest me nearly as much as my first time running through many of Nioh 2's tightly designed levels. And I don't want to just solely lay the blame on my Nioh 2 experience because I still have unintentionally ran into some of this game's trap areas, but then the trap just kinda misses. I do not recall that ever happening in Nioh 2. In exchange though, the game does have a really satisfying collectible system, and even now comes with a completion checklist that you can quickly look up. Again, one could argue that this is an easier system than Nioh 2's collectibles, but it only shows the location of collectibles after you have already found a number of them, and I think that's just getting rid of some of the more boring aspects of collecting in a game that is primarily focused on combat. Speaking of which, the combat in Nioh 3 is exactly what one would expect. It's Nioh 2, but with extra shit. But while I was worried on how some of it was going to be implemented, lo and behold, I really liked the additions. I expected ninja form to be some alternative way to play the game, which seems absolutely ludicrous to me considering it only has one stance compared to the 3 of samurai form that the damn franchise was built around. But the way it's implemented makes ninja feel just like another weapon in the toolkit. It's just one button tap to swap between the 2 of them, and it's seamless jumping in and out of ninja form mid-combat. And even though ninja only has a single form, the devs compensated by adding extra aerial attacks that samurai doesn't have. Throw in a light shadow clone dodging system in place of key pulsing, and it really does just fit right in. Samurai does get a glow up, gaining the parry system from Wulong, which got his parry system from Sekiro, and that means it feels phenomenal, and is a contributing factor to me still primarily playing the game in samurai form, which is funny considering what happened to all my favorite weapons in their transition to Nioh 3. Here the game basically just told me,
you're not a real
samurai.
Claws, ninja form. Hatchets, ninja form. Tonfa, ninja form. Split staff, ninja form. Dodging to hit enemies from behind as is traditional in a Souls-style game, ninja form. But hey, regular sword is more fun than I expected, and honestly, complaining about the weapons in fucking Nioh feels like it could easily enter my lobster's too buttery territory. What I will say about how all this choice plays out though, is, well, I'm going to need an analogy for this. Okay, try to follow me on this one. Comparing Nioh 2 to Nioh 3 is like comparing Sukuna to Gojo.
What the fuck are you on about?
Don't worry, no spoilers. This analogy is more for the veterans here from my old Nioh 2 video, you know, Jujutsu Kaisen of Dark Souls. In the DLC, Minamoto motherfucking Raiko shows up and uses a tiny box to fully summon Kasha to her aid in battle. I swear to God, that better be a core mechanic for Nioh 3.
Tell him to bring me my money.
Anyway, Nioh 2 is like Sukuna. He's the strongest, but he still has to play the game. He might face tank some attacks, but he's still blocking with his cursed energy, because if he doesn't, he might just die. And he doesn't want to die. He blocks, parries, and even interrupts his enemies with his overwhelming power and mastery. And you can be that too. Once you have learned enemy strategies, you can look downright demonic toying with your opponents. But make no mistake, you are just one bad burst counter away from meeting your ancestors. Nioh 3, on the other hand, is like Gojo. He's also the strongest, but even when facing a strong opponent, he's not really locked in. The second he learns the automatic defense Infinity, it's less about winning a fight and more about experimenting with all the tools he has gathered over his adventure. I'm feeling red today. No wait, blue. Actually, today's looking kind of purple. You know what? Hey Yuji, wanna see something cool? And that's kind of the vibe of Nioh 3 in its opening areas. Not only do you have a ton of tools at your disposal now, but enemies just straight up deal less damage to you. I've taken hits that I know would 100% blow my back out.
What?
But instead, my character is just a little bit eepy. Like I'm fighting the Sukuna boss. I know, ironic, right? And it's cool, and I'm using my new ninja techniques, drinking elixirs when low, and summoning yokai to deal extra damage. But by the end of the fight, despite winning and doing all sorts of cool flips and shit and interacting with the game's systems, I'm just kind of looking back at my own performance thinking,
Look! Look! What the fuck is this?
It kind of feels like a dish missing its spice, especially coming from the struggle of finally getting the last achievement in Nioh 2. But then, like a shining beacon, there it was, littered with the angry souls of fallen players. An oasis amongst a sea of mediocrity. It was the Blood Edge Demon. This optional and reoccurring mini-boss wrecked my shit, and I found myself sliding right back into the classic stages of Nioh grief I experienced back when I first played 2. Calling the enemy cheap, yelling at the devs how the hell I was supposed to react to that, blaming the terrain for working as a double agent for the boss, before inevitably asking myself, how many times did I elixir, and accepting that each time I did, it was because I made a mistake. Nioh doesn't have a health tax in boss fights. You see this unblockable, you can burst counter. You see this pool of flames, you don't need to be standing there. You see this wave of fire ready to set you ablaze, you can roll through it. Or hell, it's Nioh 3 baby, you can fucking jump. And if all else fails and the boss starts doing some weird shit, and after endless upon endless bouts of grief, the ultimate victory just felt so sweet. So yeah, a lot of the game so far does feel a bit too easy, but
when the sun hits that ridge just right, these hills sing.
It's hiding, but there will be moments where you just need to get good. Or grind your stats, farm equipment to capitalize on enemies' weaknesses, cast buffs to resist annoying elements, use liberal use of summons, or even phone a friend on the nearby blue swords. So yeah, it's looking like Nioh 3's still got it. It's a little bit rough in some areas, and there have been losses in the transition, but overall I am liking what I have played so far, and I feel like it's going to be a very solid ride, especially for Nioh fans like me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Matane.